If you were listening to the program on Friday, and we actually have 2 more interviews that we'll put out today that we did on Friday that I think that we'll release on YouTube probably. When we were talking about Iran, and I can't remember which one did we play on the show on Friday. Who was it, Brendan, that we played on Friday?
Valley Nasser?
Valley Nasser. And what I think was it? I can't. Valley Nasser. Okay. And basically what we had discussed was it really comes down to what would be the nature of the retaliation by the Iranians to the assassination of Soleimani. And would it be sufficient for the Iranian government in terms of satisfying their constituency, which is the millions of people who were marching, or I should say were participating in the funeral procession for Soleimani, but also measured enough so that Donald Trump did not respond to it. And it appears, as of last night, that at least in terms of what the Iranians are going to do publicly, that is what happened. They fired a series of ballistic missiles into 2 different bases that were at least these bases are quite large, that were not manned. They basically fired them into areas that were empty. Now, it's not inconceivable that there was some coordination through back channels with the United States, frankly. It's not impossible. It's also just as likely that they have enough intelligence resources on the ground in Iraq to know where to put those. But this was all very deliberate. That doesn't mean that the Iranians won't be doing things like, I don't know, putting some type of computer virus into our grid and shutting it down or something. I imagine that would be a little bit more extreme, but it's not
owning us on Twitter.
Owning us on Twitter. But I think there will probably be some other violence that will be less attributable to the Iranians. I mean, these were missiles that were fired from Iran. This was specifically a piece of theater. Obviously, we're going to talk more about this as we go, but we'd like to start the show with something a little bit lighter. Of course, there is nothing right now, but and I have some thoughts on this, and we will get into it, both in terms of like the ridiculous of all of this is. But we are in one of those classic situations where Donald Trump is now being lauded by some in the media for not killing us all. I saved your life. I didn't kill you. And, this is, I have some thoughts on it. I mean, like literally to the point where like, I'm not quite there, Jamie. Don't get too excited, but almost having some anarchist thoughts, but not quite.
I'm listening.
Right, I know. I just said that so to get you focused for the rest of the program. But I don't. I'm not quite there. So this happened on Fox News last night. In addition to Sean Hannity, of course, calling for complete destruction of Iran, but not so much that we need to put boots on the ground. You know, that kind of war. The one that exists in like Space Troopers or whatever the hell it is. Starship Troopers. Yeah, it's some type of fantasy world. So here is, it's not Laura Ingraham.
Oh, Shannon Bream.
It's, what's her name? Shannon Bream. Has got Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. Now, you know he's Lieutenant Governor of Texas because he's wearing his Lieutenant Governor outfit. which is like, I mean, seriously? He does. He looks like some type of park ranger. Like he's like I don't know. And then they apparently, is it not? Oh, it is? It's not. Wow, I was going to say, it looked like they took some guy, it looked like they took Brandon Straka and
Uncle Straka.
And he passed away, and then they sort of embalmed him and put him next to it. But this guy's just some type of former State Department, I don't know, guy who's just there just to, I don't know, look.
Wear a blazer.
Yeah, wear a blazer. And
No.
so here is Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. He's talking about Iran has now apparently tried to infiltrate their Texas state computer system. You know, you recall all the times that he was upset about how many times like Russia did it or anybody else, but this is, you know, this is what he's here for. And the amazing thing is, I mean, look, Donald Trump is nuts. He's nuts. This is what, you know, when you read about like, well, it would have been like to have been a subject of the, you know, in an era where, you know, there was a king with syphilis or something like that. I mean, we are living essentially in that era. And the problem is that our system is just not in any way. And I don't know that any system is designed for it. But all of this, all of it, every bit of it, completely unnecessary. And I mean, to the point where you start to think that the logic of it is there's just a completely different plane of existence in which this makes sense. But the Lieutenant Governor of Texas has a slightly different take on this.
So I want to talk about something really interesting that I heard today that was a shocking number to me, Lieutenant Governor. Your governor, Greg Abbott, they're talking about reports from state agencies of up to 10,000 potential cyber intrusions per minute. Is this something that regularly happens for you all, or is this something that
Pause
you
it
think...
for 1 second. Now, what they're obviously talking about is some type of like defense, you know, like a denial of service. DDoS attack from a bunch of like, you know, repeated, like more or less bots. There's not like
10,000 different guys.
There's not 10,000 Iranian IT guys going like, go, 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 go. But of course, they've got to make, I mean, like, this is one dude who, you know, is like, I'm on the Texas desk. And I just, I set it up this morning. And then I go over and I head over to Georgia. You know, that's basically it. But
cyber intrusions per minute. Is this something that regularly happens for you all, or is this something that you think is in somehow related to what's going on overseas?
We were having our domestic terrorism task force quarterly meeting today. And in that meeting, Shannon, it was discussed that in the last 48 hours, that we had seen a tremendous uptick. Now, I will keep classified what we normally get on a minute-per-minute basis from Iran, but we were now able to trace 10,000 scans trying to get into our state systems per minute in the last 48 hours. That's 600,000 per hour, over 16 million per day. And so we are being very watchful for our state, and we're alerting our business community, our oil companies, big corporations, and by the way, for anyone in Texas and anyone in America who wants to learn about what we call cyber hygiene, they can go to dir.texas.gov, dir.texas.gov, to learn some things they can do, because we want to alert everyone to be very prepared, because Iran, obviously, if they're hitting us with 10,000 scans a minute that we know are coming from their country, they may be also attacking us through other proxies from other areas. Then they are serious about trying to get into government and, I believe, big corporations in this country.
Yeah, and we know they've done it before.
Shannon, can I say something?
Sure.
They've done it before. Can I just say something quickly about tonight? The president has proven once again that he is brilliant at being predictably unpredictable. He's like a master chess player. He always knows many moves ahead of where he is, but his opponents or his enemies, never know what he's doing next. And I think tonight Iran is really off balance. My dad used to have a saying with his generation of they don't know to shower or wind their watch, but they used a different word for shower. I think tonight Iran doesn't know to shower or wind their watch, quite frankly.
I think they do know how to select targets across MENA and the entirety of South Asia.
Well, of
for the next coming
course.
decades, you moron.
And let's be clear here. Like, you know, he is predictable insofar as at the end, at one point he just like wipes all the pieces off the board and that's it, and says we're going to start again. I mean, this is just sheer insanity that. We have just crossed. We've crossed into just sort of the Rubicon has been crossed, ladies and gentlemen.
Just to be really put a fine point on it, like Richard Nixon had this madman theory, which meant like we are going to commit genocide and war crimes in Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia, and then we will leverage that to have an arms agreement with the Soviet Union, to open China. Completely immoral, absolutely murderous war criminal, but very coherent strategy. I mean, if you read about like the painstaking process of like, how do they send messages to Mao? How do they lay all the groundwork for this stuff? Like, there is an analog to what they're claiming he's doing. And it is some of the most both utterly immoral, but also very strategic, thinking we've ever seen.
But here's the thing. There is no, I want to get to that. Let me do the ads first, and then I want to get to it because I'm going to need a little time for this. But there is an analog, but there is no geopolitical strategy here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're making a claim that is not based in anything. Richard Nixon didn't go, well, we're going to bomb Laos. Then I'm going to have a press conference. Then I'm going to insult Mao.
I don't think he gets that far, to be honest with you. I don't even think
I'm saying
Trump gets that far ahead even.
Can you imagine sincerely believing that Trump is some master chess player here? This
that's
guy
the thing.
is in charge of a big state.
Or the alternate is having the complete lack of shamelessness that you'll say that. Like, I mean, it's one or the other, and they're both, sort of terrifying prospects.